As the father of a teenage daughter, I'm very familiar with the Jonas Brothers phenomenon. Albums, concerts, television series, worldwide fame. But I'm particularly familiar with Nick, the youngest of the three. Nick was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2005. And as someone who has personally faced the challenges of diabetes for more than 40 years, I wondered how Nick deals with diabetes given the rigors of his demanding schedule and pop star adulation. I wasn't sure what to expect in Nick. A jaded young superstar? Well, what I found was quite the opposite. An endearing, smart, polite, and sincere kid making it work in his life just as any teenager with diabetes has to make it work in theirs. I caught up with Nick near the family home in Dallas, Texas. Nick, thanks so much for joining us. I know your schedule's really busy. It's an honor to have you on Dlife. Why don't we start with telling me about when you were diagnosed and what was that like? How were you feeling? What were the symptoms?
I was diagnosed in November 2005. It was right as things were starting for us in the band, and it was kind of what we look back on as the tougher period in our career. I started to deal with some symptoms that were more along the lines of, like a cold or something like that. I started to see some weight loss and the bad attitude that comes with the high blood sugar, and I went to see the doctor, and my blood sugar was over 700. And basically went to the hospital and was there for a couple days. Got the crash course on all that is diabetes, and it's a bit overwhelming when you get all that information at one time, because it was really hard to believe, because I didn't even believe it at first. Right. Sometimes you don't even know if you're going to survive, when you don't know what diabetes is, but when it's all coming at one time, it's a bit crazy.
When I was a kid, I kept my diabetes very private. I was very secretive, and it was all wrong, but I did it nevertheless. Soon after diagnosis, you decided to be very public about it. What was going through your mind then at that time to be right out there with it?
I think we were already in a position where we were in the band and we were making music, and once I shared my story with some people.
Kids have diabetes, raise your hand. A little over a year ago, I found out that I had diabetes. Type 1.
And they heard it. They started saying it was encouraging for them to hear. And, I mean, that means the world. At the end of the day, for me, the thing that keeps me going, if there's a tough day, I'll be at a show and a kid will come up and say, thank you for what you're doing. It's really helped me in my life, and that's all I could ask for.
That's amazing. Do you think diabetes has made you grow up even faster, where people can't relate, unless you really have diabetes, to the challenges of every day, the lows, the highs, the moods, which we all suffer from, and you have to just accept it and get through it? And I'm sure there's days where it's just the energy level isn't where you want it to be, but you just got to move on with it.
It's a full life change. I mean, for a little while there, you're thinking about everything you're doing, and after a while, you kind of get used to knowing how many carbs are in something and knowing what's good for you, what's bad. It just hits so fast, and you never expect something like that. I have perfect medical history, and then it happens, and it's like a light switch you have to just turn on, because you never think how exercise will influence my diabetes, my blood sugar.
Do you make an effort to get exercise, or do you get so much of it while you're on stage and burning all those calories and running around?
We get a lot of exercise while we're on stage, but I'm also a very competitive person. So golf is a big one for us, and also baseball and anything basically with ball. It's kind of something that we're into.
Yeah. So
I try to keep really active. The stage performance does take a lot out of you. Luckily this summer we're going to be indoors. Last summer we were outside. A lot of the venues, amphitheaters and things like that. So you'd feel that heat.
Nick, what's going on?
Nothing. You're just going to make fun of me.
We're your brothers. We're going to make fun of you no matter what it is.
Who gets on you the most? Is it your brothers, your mom, your dad?
It's kind of equal all around, but mom and dad have been a big part of it, just making sure I was good. Because it is a family thing, although it happens to one person in the family. Everyone has to be aware and has to be ready to help if there's a need. And when people ask me, what's one thing you tell to your fans who have diabetes? I always say, it's okay to be independent and to rely on yourself to get through something. But really, talk to your doctors, talk to your parents, and don't be afraid to ask for someone's help.
Till it's gone.